What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC on Fox 26 or hashtag UFC Winnipeg post-fight show. My name is Flyin Brian J. Thank you so very much for joining me. Once again, no co-host that's going to be speaking words with me with their voice. So you, the viewers, are going to be my co-host. And my first question to you, as always, is what post-fight letter grade would you give this card? I'm talking top to bottom, not just the last 4 fights of the night, but all the way down at Jordan Meehan versus Eric Silva, all the way up to Rafael dos Anjos versus ruthless Robbie Lawler. We've got Matthew Caldwell here and also Matt Delphia. Matt Delphia's given this thing an A. I'm going to tell you right away here that I would give the post-fight letter grade on this card. I'm going to go B+, maybe just straight B. And hear me out for why. I'm going to, Matthew Caldwell, B+ would be better. Unfortunately, there was about 50-50 decisions and finishes. That's one thing, Matthew Caldwell. But more than that, I was pretty hyped. The main card was good. Glover Teixeira putting Misha Cirkunov away in the first round. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Mike Platinum Perry was a barn burner, fun fight back and forth. Emmett knocking out Ricardo Lamas in the first round, 4:33 of the first round with a left hook. It was awesome. But Rafael dos Anjos versus ruthless Robbie Lawler, I wanted to be, or I thought was going to be a war, but there was like no ebb, no flow. It was Rafael dos Anjos taking control of the fight and then controlling the fight for the next 25 minutes. There was no nuance. There was no moments when I had my butthole puckered up or my heart was in my throat. None of that. There was no roller coaster about the main event. And in a card like this, when you get to the end of the night, and there was no back and sure, Lawler had his moments, and it was fun that he could endure the punishment from Rafael dos Anjos. But really, to me, there was no roller coaster in the main event. But other than that, this card was pretty gosh darn bonkers. There was some weird stuff that happened, some fun stuff that happened. We're gonna get into it, but yeah. So my post-fight letter grade is gonna be B+. Matt Delphia says they did have wars, which is why I give it an A. Haven't been wars in a cage in a while. Justin Riddle's glad Mike Platinum Perry lost. Nathan Sheriff says the main card had some great fights, lots of back and forth. But yeah, as I mentioned, I don't think there was that much back and forth in the main event. If I'm looking off to the side here, you're watching me live. The Nebraska women's volleyball team is currently in the national championship. I'm from Nebraska, and it's 6-6 in the third set with Nebraska up 2-0. So Freddie Sacombe says, who is Till going to fight next? How about we give Darren Till to Santiago Gensheboa Ponzinibbio? Mike Perry was calling out Darren Till. I thought, after Till destroyed Donald Cerrone, I thought give Darren Till to the winner of Santiago versus Mike Platinum Perry. Santiago won that fight tonight via unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28. So I'm going to give Till to Ponzinibbio. And what's next for Rafael dos Anjos, who he won unanimous decision over ruthless Robbie Lawler, 50-45, 50-45, 50-45. I think that we're going to give him the title shot. If Colby Covington isn't getting the next title shot against Tyron Woodley, it needs to be Rafael dos Anjos. Talk about what happened. In the end of the second round, toward the end of the second round, maybe it was 2 minutes to go in the second round, Rafael dos Anjos unleashed on a 23-second long flurry on Robbie Lawler against the fence. Holy shit, that was wild. How Rafael won the fight was forward pressure, hooks to the body, really, really good low kicks on Lawler's lead leg. Lawler was near immobile by the time the fight was over. And Rafael, in his post-fight interview, said that Lawler has a really hard head. And man, oh man, is that ever, must be the truth. They showed some of the replays in slow motion of Rafael landing cleanly on Lawler's head. Lawler was ducking down a little bit, so he was landing to push his head down a little. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rafael broke his hands. There was a time where Lawler was getting a decent jab on Rafael, pushed him against the fence, ripped a few good hooks there, but Rafael seemed not impenetrable, but near impervious to damage tonight. And Lawler didn't really get wobbled like I thought he would if dos Anjos connected as cleanly as he did multiple times in this fight. So both guys showed really good chins. So what's next for dos Anjos, I think, definitely is next for Tyron the Chosen One Woodley. Nathan Sheriff says, what do you think is next for Mike Platinum Perry? He didn't look up to the hype tonight. Man, there were moments when he was really good. In the first round, I think Mike Perry won the first round, and when he landed with his right hand on Ponzinibbio, it really looked like Ponzinibbio was affected by the power that Perry landed with him. But at the beginning of the second round, Ponzinibbio started getting Perry with those low kicks. And as soon as he decreased Perry's ability to plant down and wing that overhand right and like decrease his ability to march forward on Ponzinibbio started to get the better of him. And you could see that Perry was loading up on everything, like I mentioned already, but Ponzinibbio was the more loose guy. He was just touching to touch, not just throwing everything into a single strike. I don't think that Perry didn't look up to the hype tonight. He looked like we knew who he is. And he had a good performance. He had his moments. There was lots of ebbs and flows. He definitely won a round against Ponzinibbio. He didn't get finished. He showed a huge chin. And Eric Haber says Perry versus Lawler now? Yeah, fuck it. Let's do that. I like that a lot. That would be a super fun fight. That could headline any card ever. And it would be crazy because we'd have a headliner with not any card ever, but like a fight night somewhere. It'd be a better main event than Doo-Ho Choi versus Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens for UFC St. Louis. There's that. Probably not going to happen because both those guys took a lot of damage tonight. But yeah, I'd like to see Mike Perry versus Ruthless Robbie. Dos Nachos fit for the belt, says Francisco Hernandez. Jack Mooney says Lawler is done, unfortunately. Troy Flaro gives it a B, the whole card. What's up, Marcus Zachary? Thanks for hanging, brother. Ricky Berghue is always here. It's always a treat when Ricky's hanging out. Jose Medella says Lawler hurt his left leg. He was at 50% the last 3 rounds. Justin Riddle doesn't like Lawler or Mike Perry. What? Troy Flaro, I'm surprised McGregor didn't make an appearance and push the referee. Jose Medella says Alejandro Pinocchio, Mike Perry. Dennis Beechler says Lawler looked too calm before the fight. He always looks that calm, man. He's always that calm. Even before his fight against, I forget who it was. Perhaps it was his last war against MacDonald. He's just so calm in interviews. They're like, hey, Robbie, what do you think you're going to be doing in this fight? And he's like, taking souls. Beating people up. Hey, Robbie, what's your game plan when you fight Tyron Woodley? I'm going to get in a war. I'm going to knock him out. He's always just super, super calm as fuck. Matt Roddy, Perry needs to evolve. He is mean and has a lot of heart, but he needs to step his game up. Mike Perry doesn't train at a great team. You got to remember when he first made his UFC debut, I think he was training out of a UFC gym or some shit like that. Super young dude. I know he seems older than he is, but he's 26 years old. Lots of time for him to improve, especially fighting at 170 pounds. He'll be back. And he's always going to be a fun, exciting fighter. This is prize fighting, mind you. It's not always about getting belts and stuff. And Mike Perry has gained a following. He's fun to listen to when he just rants with random bullshit. He's an exciting fighter, even though he might not be as evolved as we would like him to be. But I really like watching Mike Perry fight. Dennis Beechler says Perry needs to add kicks to his game. Leg kicks would help him tremendously. Also, to your point, Dennis, he needs to check kicks better because that's one way, like I mentioned already, Santiago started getting off on those leg kicks on Perry's lead leg, which hindered a lot of his abilities. He didn't look like to me that he was checking them, and when he moves forward, he just kind of does, he hops forward with his leg. For a while there at the beginning, he was having good footwork, and he was cutting angles and just getting out of range from Ponzinibbio. But then once Ponzi started to attack that leg, Perry was not a sitting duck, but Ponzinibbio increased his chances of winning that fight exponentially because Perry wasn't checking him or anything like that. Mike Perry is delinquent on portable sauna payments. Marco Garcia says that. Marcus Zachary says Lamas got caught with the most clean left hook of all time. Jack Mooney, this is yes, good point, Jack. When you have your girlfriend in your corner as your lead trainer, that's not a good sign. So there was a couple of WTFs of the card. Let's get to those here in a second. I don't know, Jack, if his girlfriend was his lead coach, but so maybe Mike hears her voice better than anybody else's. So you could see when they show the corner, Mike Perry's the head coach, I don't know who the hell he is, would say something, and then Mike Perry's girlfriend would say the same thing, but louder. So maybe they bring her in so that Perry can have an easier time keying in on her voice. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. But here's some WTFs of the card. Perhaps that could be one. One WTF of the card is that way down early on in the night, Galore Bafando came out and he only had one corner man. One. Carried a bucket and a stool and that's it. Weird. What the fuck, Galore Bafando? Also, what the fuck, Galore? Like, train some ground game at all sometime. But my real WTF of the card, I like to give positive WTFs because you guys don't want to be here if I'm just bitching and crying, moaning about stuff. My WTF of the card was when Nordine Taleb knocked out Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts in the first round with a head kick. Cormier was breaking it down with his little teleprompter thing and saying, like, here's what went wrong with Danny Roberts' head kick defense. And as he's breaking it down, he said, I know I'm not the best person to listen to about defending head kicks. And that's just fucking hilarious. Daniel Cormier obviously got head kick knocked out by John Jones in his last fight. He poked fun at himself while being still a jovial person. Hey, I'm not the person to be talking to about head kick defense. Fucking what the fuck, Daniel Cormier? We don't deserve you and your like super happy, joyful personality. God damn it, what the fuck? I love Daniel Cormier. That was phenomenal. Eric Haber, is his girlfriend a fighter? Then there's no problem, but she's a tennis player. Same thing, yeah, Chad Webb's mentioning Smiling Sam Alvey. Same thing, Smiling Sam's wife is a model. And like me, I've never fought, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a great analyst. I got tonight's main event wrong. I've got many fights wrong. My gambling record's horrible. But you don't have to be a fighter to know like game plans and the ins and outs of a fight. So Sam Alvey's wife does a phenomenal job of, she knows how to talk to Sam. She knows what's going on in the fight. She knows what his opponent's doing and what he could do to improve his chances of winning that fight. There was I believe there was a college football coach for Kansas that did not play college football that took Kansas like on one of their best years ever. I have a great example. I had a friend in college who's a short guy, a short person. And while he couldn't do, he was a exercise science major. And while he couldn't do some of the moves that he knew how to do in his head, he couldn't do them because of his stature. He knew how to coach somebody else to move their body to do those things. I know we're rambling and we're really off topic, but you can't always. Somebody that isn't a fighter might know stuff about fighting, is my point. So maybe Mike Perry's girlfriend knows fuckloads about fighting. And they obviously have a good relationship, and she, like I said, he can probably key in on her voice really well. DC is the GOAT, I agree. Dennis Beechler, Francisco Hernandez, they both love Daniel Cormier and his commentary. Chad Webb says his picks are usually bad. It's hard, man. Making picks, especially on 50-50 fights, is tough. And why, this is an excuse personally, but also it's legitimate. Why do we love mixed martial arts? The part of it is the unpredictability of it. If you could predict all the fights correct, it wouldn't be fucking fun. So, yeah, I get fights wrong, but that's half the fun of it. As we're talking about that, let's move to the co-main event. You guys have been talking about it in the comments. The co-main event, Josh Emmett knocked out Ricardo Lamas with a left hook from hell at 4:33 of the very first round. Josh Emmett went with a right over the top, missed, and then came back with a left hook, bam, right on the chin, and sent Ricardo into, I tweeted, rigor mortis. I've been saying the shadow realm lately. Got to change it up every once in a while, Rigor mortis, fucking stiff as a board, flat on the canvas. And Daniel Cormier, we're talking about his commentary, he even keyed in on Ricardo Lamas' head bounced at least 3 times off the canvas. He was doing that to convey to us that Ricardo lost control of his body. He might have even pooped himself. Okay, nobody said that. I just made that up just now, so don't run with that. But as we were the commentators were talking about during the fight, Emmett was landing with the harder punches. And what sucks, and I forget who, I think it was Will Martin from Twitter tweeted that the worst part for Josh Emmett is that would be a performance of the night bonus, because that was fucking the best knockout of the night, clearly. But he missed weight by 2.5 pounds, so he's not eligible for that. And he apologized after the fight was over for missing the weight, but I believe he came in on short notice. Ricardo was supposed to fight Jose Aldo, and then Jose got called up on short notice to obviously rematch Max Blessed Holloway. But big win for Josh Emmett. In the pre-fight show, Andrew the Clown Kid and I were talking about Ricardo Lamas was like the number 4th ranked featherweight in the world, and Josh Emmett, according to Tapology, was like the 200th. Maybe Ricardo was the 10th. I don't know. But anyway, Josh Emmett was the 200th. He's going to spring right into like legitimacy in this UFC's featherweight division. Let's look at the rankings and see who could be next for Josh Emmett. Who do you guys think should be next for Josh Emmett? Jose Melendez. Is it Jose or Jose? Probably Jose. Sorry, man. Have I been saying Jose? I apologize, sir. It says Scary KO, that cement back. Francisco Hernandez says, and if he made weight, he would have got the performance of the night and then the KO of the night. Yeah. Well, yeah, only one of those, but yeah. Matthew Caldwell says, Ricardo Lamas was ranked 3rd. I guess I have the rankings up now. Ricardo was ranked 3rd. But that's the UFC's stupid way of doing it, where they go C and then 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Like, the real ranking should be like Max Holloway is 1, Jose Aldo 2, Frank Edgar 3, Ricardo Lamas 4. What's next for Josh Emmett? I would like to see him... Man, I'd hate to do it to Cub Swanson. How about Dennis the Menace? Let's go. Does Dennis the Menace Bermudez have a fight lined up? Oh, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Shit. Man. So Josh Emmett's going to catapult into the featherweight rankings. Yair Rodriguez, what's he up to? All right. I like the idea of Josh Emmett versus Yair El Pantera Rodriguez. Jack Mooney says, yeah, Emmett versus Cub, but Cub's coming off a loss. Emmett's coming off of like 2 victories, so maybe not that. And I don't really want to just feed Cub to it like kind of a young up and comer with a lot of power. Have him lose 2 in a row. That wouldn't be really good, would it? Ricky Berghue says Emmett versus Aldo, perhaps, yeah. Frank Chu says Ortega. Nah, man. And he says, or nah. I want Ortega to get a title shot. I think Ortega versus Max Holloway right now would be fine with me. But if not, Ortega should just wait for the result of Edgar versus Holloway and then get the title shot. Ortega deserves the title shot, so I don't want him anything other than getting that title shot. Bradley Walden says, Cubs coming off a loss that don't make sense when this dude just knocked out the bully. Sean Boseman says, I mean, it seems weird putting him against someone in the top 2, but he KO'd the number 3 guy flat, so it's deserved in his opinion. Yeah, good points, Sean. I can't really argue against you. And to Bradley's point, Yair's coming off of a loss too, but he's coming off of a loss to Frankie Edgar, who's the number 2 guy, or the number 3 if you want to go on my ranking system. Lots of options. Let's just say lots of options for Josh Emmett. Let's not peg it down now because a lot can go on. And Doo Ho Choi's facing Jeremy Stevens in, I believe, January, the UFC St. Louis. Yeah, main event, January 14th in St. Louis. So how about this? How about Josh Emmett gets the winner of Stevens versus Choi? Let's just say that. That makes sense, doesn't it? Similar time frames. And, yeah. The punch would have knocked Butterbean out, Matt Roddy says. Yeah, that punch was fucking wicked. And Josh Emmett is like a fire hydrant of a featherweight, man. That guy is thick as fuck. Just real meaty, beefy dude. Oh, I need to go forward twice. Let's move on in the card. We talked about Santiago Genchibo Ponzinibbio versus Mike Perry a little bit already. What's next for them, respectively? I think Santiago versus Darren Till. We mentioned that. Mike Perry versus Ruthless Robbie would make a lot of sense. I think it would be fun as hell. And let's do it. Let's do that. Let's move down. We don't really need to talk about the Santiago thing. So I already mentioned that Santiago with the low kicks was getting the better of Perry, and I thought Perry was going to pick it up in the third round. Perry won the first. Santiago definitely won the second round, but then in the third round it seemed like Perry was picking it up. He was hurting Ponzinibbio a couple of times when he would land that right hand. Then he seemed to stun Ponzinibbio, got him against the fence, came in a little bit like without caution, came in too aggressive, and Ponzinibbio with the spinning back fist dropped Mike Perry, and that bop was probably the moment that Santiago won this fight. Before we lose too many other viewers, Dennis Beechler says he'd like to see Emmett versus Stevens. Fuck yeah, so you like my matchmaking. Duho Choi versus Stevens happening in basically a month. The winner of that versus Josh Emmett. Let's do that. Edgar would be a huge challenge if they fought because Edgar has a chin and would be a great challenge for a guy with a hard fist. I really think Edgar's getting that title shot, Matthew Caldwell. Let's go to our performance bonuses and the fight of the night before we start talking about the rest of the fights and we lose too many people. Jose Medella says Perry was flat-footed by the second round. Absolutely. 100%. I think a little bit of that was the leg kicks from Ponzinibbio. All right, performance bonuses. I'm going to give fight of the night to Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Mike Platinum Mike Perry, whatever. Performance bonus obviously would go to Josh Emmett, but he's ineligible because he missed weight. But in the Flyin Brian post-fight show, we are the hashtag fight nerds. If you guys are with me on that, we are the fight nerds. So on the fight nerds post-fight show, Josh Emmett would get one because that was still fucking lit. Just give Ricardo Lamas 20% of that 50 G's then. How about that? And performance bonus is going to go to, I think I'm going to give one to Julian Marquez for his, they call it a guillotine choke, but it looked like a go-go or a 10-finger guillotine to me over Darren Stewart. Julian Marquez, and then, they're tough. Could it be Glover? Could it be Chad Laprise? Could it be Nordine Taleb? Oh, fuck. Who needs the money more? Could it be Alessio Di Chirico? This is tough. I'm going to go with Glover Teixeira. It was like the most meaningful finish of the night. Oh, yeah. Matthew Caldwell, Stewart versus Marquez would be the fight of the night. Okay. How about this? There's just so many finishes. There are two fun fights that deserve fight of the night. A lot of finishes. It's tough. Matthew Caldwell would give a performance bonus to Rafael dos Anjos. I don't agree with that. Dennis Beechler, what to do with Glover the Rainbow Teixeira? Let's pull up the rankings and check out the light heavyweight rankings. So Glover Teixeira right now is the number 3 light heavyweight, ranked behind Alexander Gustafsson, Volkan Oezdemir, and of course Daniel Cormier. He's above Jimmy Manuwa. Glover's already defeated Ovin St. Preux. He just defeated Misha Serkunov. He's already defeated Pat Cummins. Yeah, that's tough. Glover asked for a title shot against Daniel Cormier. He said that Cormier had mentioned in the locker room that if he has a really impressive performance tonight, he could deserve a title shot. If something were to happen with Volkan Oezdemir before his title shot against Daniel Cormier, then I say we give Glover, just give him the title shot. I think Daniel Cormier would run through him, but give it to him anyway. And then, I don't know, what do you do with him? Because I feel like there's a huge gap between, like, Gus, Oezdemir, Teixeira, Manuwa, and then the rest of them. OSP, Mauricio Shogun, Misha Serkunov, Corey Anderson, Ilir Latifi. Fucking... I don't know, I almost say let Glover fight Jan Blachowicz. Same time frames, they both got wins tonight. What else do you do with him? I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Sean Boseman says he would give Hardier the performance of the night too. Never seen it Lawler dominated like that. I've seen him flatline, but he was totally broken. I know, I forgot to mention that at the beginning. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, we watched Lawler get flatlined in 30 seconds against Tyron Woodley. But tonight, RDA was more impressive than the Woodley thing because it wasn't just a flash thing. sure, maybe Woodley could do that time and time and time again, but like the pure and utter drubbing that RDA put on Lawler tonight makes me like never want to see the fight again, because you just, I think it would go the same way if they did it 10 times, it feels like. And which is crazy to me because it was a pick'em fight coming into it. Caldwell, I mean, I would give it to Emmett hands down, but we can't realistically. How can you take it from a guy who won 5 rounds over toughest 105er after coming off from 155 pounds, 3 fights before? I would argue him over to Sheriff for reasons of meaningfulness. Okay, Matthew, you talked me into it. Fine, we'll give performance bonus to RDA. Should I check the real ones real quick, guys? Let's check the real ones, and then we can talk about the rest of this card. Okay. Performance bonuses go to, fight of the night went to Marquez versus Darren Stewart and Nordine Taleb and Manzo Di Chirico. Here's the reason why I wouldn't give a post-fight bonus to Di Chirico. I would give it to him because he probably like got paid the least on this card and needs the money the most. But why I wouldn't give it to him is because that fight was a fucking snooze fest. One of the worst on the card. One of the worst. It was boring. Right up until it was over. Like, nothing happened. And it's not Di Chirico's fault. It's mostly Olawale Bangbus's fault. But if that fight was... Yeah, he's the one that flatlined Olawale, Frank Chu. But that fight fucking sucked right up. Like, it sucked until it's over. And I guess it was a really good performance, but... And I see why Taleb needs the post-fight bonus. And Taleb, in his post-fight after knocking out Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts with that high kick, he actually asked for the post-fight bonus. He said, after I knocked out Eric Silva, the fight card was really good that night, so my fight went under the radar, and I didn't get a bonus. But this time, I want that bonus. Please give me the bonus. So, you know what? Oftentimes in the post-fight interviews, if the fighter actually asks for the next opponent, like the UFC will give it to them because they have a soundbite that they can hype the next fight. Perhaps asking for the bonus actually helps, and in this case, Nordine Taleb actually got it. Brian Fresco says drop the link. Drop the link to what? Jose Medella says that Lawler needs more footwork and less slugfest if he wants to be champion again. Let's not pretend that he's going to be champion again. He's not. He's not going to be champion again. He's 40 fights into his career. 40, is he? Yeah, he's 41 fights into his career. He's 28, 12, and 1. I don't think Robbie Lawler is going to be evolving anytime soon. So he's never going to be champion again. Sipping on the Henny. I am check out my beer glass, guys. Look at this cool ass beer glass. Just got it yesterday. It's called a Craft Master or something. I'll have to look again. It's Craft something. Jack Mooney says he's very disappointed in... And by the way, Jack, again, thanks for being here every single time. If the rest of the viewers didn't know, Jack has been here for every single one of my live videos since I started working for MMA Mania. You're the man. And Sean Boseman's here all the time. Matthew Caldwell is here all the time. Shane Boseman's here. Did I already say? Sean Boseman and Matthew Caldwell, Jack, these guys are here all the time. I appreciate you and I appreciate everybody for being here. Just want to do some quick shout-outs. Yep, this beer glass is pretty cool. Got it last night. Lost my train of thought a little. Let's just move down this card here. Oh, yeah. Jack asked about Eric Silva. Well, if you notice, and a lot of people will talk about it, Eric Silva looked like shit as soon as USADA showed up. Like, as soon as USADA showed up, Eric Silva started looking like a pile of shit. So, maybe that's it. But isn't it crazy? And Clown Kid mentioned this in the pre-fight show. I'm just kind of reiterating what he said. The first fight of the night was Jordan Meehan versus Eric Silva. Jordan Meehan won 30-26, 30-27, 30-27, unanimous decision. Like a few years ago, both of these guys had a lot of hype behind them, and it could have potentially been a headliner like a few years ago, and now all of a sudden both guys are just pure gicked. They're mystified. Jordan Meehan had lost 3 in a row. One of them, all decisions. His last 3 are decisions, but 2 of them he lost via decision. And Eric Silva has lost 2 in a row. He defeated Luan Chagas via rear naked choke, but Eric Silva's 1-4 in his last 5. I think we cut Eric Silva. I really do think that. Oh, Justin Riddle's here a lot too. Thanks, man. Yes, the Fight Nerds, Matthew. I think we should, let's keep that going. The Fight Nerds. Hashtag Fight Nerds. If you're on Instagram or Twitter, hashtag Fight Nerds. Let's move down the card. Jan Blachowicz versus Jared Cannonier. Basically, Blachowicz kept Cannonier at the end of his jab, and then when Cannonier would try to close distance, Blachowicz would take him down. And the fight was like minimally exciting because basically it was jabs and takedowns. No ebbs, no flows, jabs and takedowns. Julian Marquez versus Darren the Dentist Stewart. Wow. Julian Marquez won a fuckload of fans tonight. First of all, he came out dancing and singing to his walkout music. He took his like fight kit shirts and stuff off like he was a stripper dancing and stuff, and it was a hoot. The crowd was loving it, clapping and shit. Then he got in the octagon and the crowd was chanting for him, and these 2 guys got in a phone booth and just kind of winged right hammers at each other, and both guys landed over and over and over again. It looked like for a moment, I believe it was the second round, Marquez looked to be super tired. Had his hands down low, just kind of standing there. Stewart came in with some big punches, and Marquez caught him with an intercepting elbow, showing Marquez that Marquez showed that he still had his wits about him, wasn't too tired. Then he started to hurt Stewart with them intercepting elbows, and Stewart went for a takedown, and Marquez just locked in. He tried it a couple of times. I think he tried it in the first round and the second round. Got what I learned, it's called the go-go choke from Big Ben Rothwell, or the 10-finger guillotine. It's not a windpipe choke or a blood choke, so it's not like the guillotine. You're actually it's a pain choke because you're putting pressure on your throat. What is this called? The Adam's apple. You're just fucking pressing their Adam's apple through the back of their throat. Hurts like fuck. And that's what he's got caught Darren Stewart with. And why didn't we give Julian Marquez a post-fight bonus? Some bullshit. Sean Boseman. Eric Silva dated that one Brazilian girl so hot. I don't remember who that was. Link us with a photo, Sean. Andrew Boothby is enjoying from New Zealand. Hey, Andrew. Thanks for hanging out, man. I appreciate it. From New Zealand. You saw how to change his lives. Yes. Jose. Yeah. Matthew Caldwell says that Marquez versus Stewart, while it happened, he immediately thought fight of the night. And yeah, me too. I was like, that was easily the most excitement that we've had so far tonight. It'll be tough to beat that. I just thought the more high-profile fight in Ponzinibbio versus Perry would get the nod. But, in the end, I'm glad that... Oh, yeah, that's why they didn't give him the post-fight bonus. What an idiot. Because then they would have given Marquez 100. But, yeah, it was a back-and-forth brawl. Darren Stewart was the youngest guy in the card. I believe he was 26 years old. He'll come back from that. And Marquez doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. He still works at Topgolf. His life's about to change. He's a really exciting guy. What did he ask for? He didn't call anybody out. He just called for a poll to be made about whose beard is better, Julian Marquez's or Tyron the Chosen One Woodley. Marquez needs a raise at that golf place he works at in Vegas. He said he'll still work 1 day a week to keep himself humble. Yeah, I saw that. David Snyder said that. I don't think there's no way he can keep working at the top golf place, right? Oh, man. The Nebraska volleyball score is doing well. Just hope Nebraska volleyball wins the national championship, guys. Jack Mooney says that Nordine Taleb needs a top 15 opponent next. Let's talk about... I almost pulled the trigger on a bet on Nordine Taleb. I know, Jack, you said that your lock of the night was Alessio Di Chirico, but, man, I was thinking Nordine Taleb versus Danny Roberts, because Danny Roberts just doesn't have that much of a chin. And that was the case. So Nordine was circling, got him with the left high kick. Danny even blocked it a little bit, but it, rocked him really bad. Danny went back to the fence, tried to grab the fence to keep himself held up. And if you saw the replay, it looked like Taleb was getting him in with a step-in forearm shiver to Roberts' face, but I think he got him with a punch and then maybe a forearm shiver as well. And Roberts went down, tried to wrestle the referee, was protesting the stoppage. Vicious stuff from Nordine. Does Nordine have a nickname? Nordine needs a fucking nickname. Guy looks like a Greek statue, Greek god statue. So, top 15 in the welterweight division. What's next for... Who do you got in mind, Jack? Thanks, Matthew. Oh, Sean Boseman got us a picture of this girl he's talking about. Okay. Yeah, check that out, fight fans. All right, welterweight division. Who's top 15 next for Nordine Taleb? Marty Usman would be fun. Who's he got next? Emil Meck, happening in St. Louis. Okay, I want Nordine Taleb to fight the winner of Kamaru Marty Usman versus Emil Meck next. What do you guys think of that? Taleb versus Gunnar Nelson? Maybe. Who wins, Woodley or RDA? I think Woodley, but again, I picked Lawler tonight over RDA. Honestly, I'm not a fan of Woodley, but wouldn't it be neat? Like, one, there's never been a Brazilian welterweight champion in the UFC, which I find crazy, but believable. So I would like to cheer for RDA in that for that reason alone, and then to be a 2-division champion would be pretty sweet. And then think about this. Conor McGregor gets a title shot at 170 pounds because he was supposed to fight RDA for the 155-pound belt. And then RDA beats him. That would just be too perfect. Taleb versus Gunny Nelson, huh? All right, we could do that. I'm going to stick with my original pick, though. Can we stick with my original pick? Ben Ekros, thanks for joining us. He gave the fight card a C. That's a little low, dude. Don't you think? Hulkamania. What you gonna do when Hulk... No, that wasn't the right voice. What you gonna do when... Nope, can't find it. Fuck it. Sorry, guys. That was weird. Can't find the voice. I had a sore throat recently. That's my excuse. I want... Darren Till, if he doesn't fight Santiago Ponzinibbio, I want him to fight Wonder Boy. Woodley won't be beaten for a long time, Jack Mooney says. I hope he is, though, at the same time. I just like nude stuff. All right, let's run over some other results. Chad Laprise defeated Galore Bafando. TKO punches, 4-10 the first round. Galore dropped Chad Laprise early. Chad Laprise does not have a very good chin. But then Chad got Galore down, and Galore has never trained ground game a day in his life. It looked like he was a fish out of fucking water. Chad Laprise is a kickboxer, and he looked like a Gracie on a third grader out there against Galore Bafando. Just flowing on him, controlling him, just seemed to have no problem at all destroying Galore Bafando on the ground. Of course, sorry guys. Of course, Galore, I'm going to be excited to watch his fights because if it's a stand-up affair, he's going to be doing all kinds of fun shit, but man, he got just tooled on tonight. We talked about Nordine Taleb versus Danny Roberts. John the Bull Makdessi versus Abel Trujillo. What happened to Abel Trujillo? Another what the fuck of the card we could say was at the end of that fight where John Makdessi beat Abel Trujillo 30-27 times 3 unanimous decision. John was trying to show some respect to Abel, and Abel wouldn't pay attention to him. He was ignoring him. And Makdessi got all sorts of pissed off. Said, "This is martial arts. You got to show respect, asshole." I added the asshole for effect, But yeah, what the fuck, Abel? And he normally is good with overhand rights. He couldn't even climb the distance on that tonight against John Makdessi. Just looked like a fish. John Makdessi kept him at range, spinning back fist to spinning techniques on Abel. Abel just had nothing for him. Even takedown attempts, Makdessi defended them easily. I think Abel's... We got to cut him. Cut him. We got to cut him. He's only on a 2-fight losing streak. We'll give him another one, but I think we should cut him. He's lost his way. And then, of course, first fight of the night. Well, Alessio Di Chirico, what's there to talk about? Olawale danced around, avoided the fight for 7 minutes. Then he came in close. Di Chirico got him with a knee to the face. Lights out, cold. First fight of the night, Jordan Meehan versus Eric Silva. Jordan Meehan was the fresher fighter. From the get-go, it seemed Eric Silva was tired already. He was having trouble pulling the trigger. Jordan Meehan out-volumed him. He out-muscled him. Basically, Jordan Meehan would win on the feet for a minute. Then if Eric Silva came in to do something, then Jordan Meehan would take him down and control him on the ground for the rest of the round. I think that Meehan had... I don't want to go back to the page. But Meehan had something like 8 minutes of top control in a 15-minute fight. It was not very exciting. To kick off the night was not very fun. Well, what else do you guys want to talk about? We covered the card. Been talking for 41 minutes and 23 seconds-ish as I say that. Yeah, what's next for the fighters? So we can just run through that again. Dos Anjos versus Woodley. Emmett versus the winner of Stevens versus Duho Choi. Ponzinibbio versus Darren Till. Glover Teixeira versus maybe Jan Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. Julian Marquez, middleweight. Let's have him fight Tyson Pedro. I know Tyson Pedro's in the... Oh, no, that's light heavyweight. Damn it. Never mind. Take it back. Middleweight for Julian Marquez. I was just thinking young guys in the heavier weight classes. Middleweight. Where's middleweight? Sorry, guys. Middleweight. I don't know. Somebody not in the top 15 probably, huh? For Julian Marquez. But whoever he's going to fight next, I'm excited about. Later, Ricky Berghus. Jack Mooney wants to talk about Khabib versus Barboza. Who do you got? Off the top of my head, I have to go with Barboza. Let me see if I can pull up the odds. Main reason I say that is because... I don't know. I think that Barboza has really good takedown defense. He has the fastest switch muscles in the UFC in mixed martial arts. If he can land cleanly on Nurmagomedov, if Barboza can land cleanly on Nurmagomedov, it's going to be good night Irene for Nurmagomedov. But perhaps he won't be able to. UFC 219 happening at the end of this month. What sucks is I have a friend who's going to have quadruplets. His wife is going to have quadruplets. He's going to have a diaper keg on the 30th of December, and I can't go because there's UFC pay-per-view. So that really sucks. I wish it was just a shitbox card so I could get out of doing a post-fight show and go to my buddy's diaper keg, but probably not going to work out. That's the biggest question. David Snyder says the biggest question that is on everybody's mind. Does Khabib make weight, and does the fight actually happen? Easier for Cormier to say he's back, but it hasn't made weight yet. Yeah, Cormier's his teammate, so of course he's going to say he's back. Right, okay. Matthew Caldwell says Khabib takes down people that like Daniel Cormier. Who cares how good Barboza's takedown defense is? He takes down everybody. That's true. Such a tough fight to call. And I'm a fan, number one. That's why I do this. I want to watch fights and I want to talk about fights. Quickly, the reason why I started talking about fights and things like this was because I would talk to my girlfriend, now fiance, about fights all the time. And she was like, hey, why don't you start a blog and talk to somebody else about the fights? And she was nice about it. But she got tired of me talking to her about them. And she was encouraging me to do something like this. So I did it. And now here I am. So anyway, with my fan cap on, I want Nurmagomedov to win. I think that he's got a fun style. he is a unique person in 2017 mixed martial arts. He's a last of a dying breed. There's not many people that are like one trick ponies and so good at that one trick that you see it, you still can't stop it. There was Damian Maia. He's still around, but he's losing his luster. There was Jacare Souza, who's got a little bit of a striking game. Habib the Eagle Nurmagomedov. It's very interesting to me that like something like that with a very specific style can survive and be at the top of the game, be undefeated still in 2017. And for that reason alone, I want Habib to win. Sean Boseman. I just think with the pressure style of Habib, he's in trouble. Doesn't seem to do well with guys that pressure. I think he needs space, but who knows. Johnson caught Habib, obviously, so Barbosa could do the same. Matthew Caldwell says, yeah, of course, it's great. I know the feeling. Yeah, Sean Boseman says they're both specialists. Huge advantages in different areas. Yeah, Barbosa, just purely striker. Habib, purely wrestler. Yeah. Barbosa does need a lot of space to get off on those really dynamic kicks and stuff, and Nurmagomedov will take that space away. Who said it? Sean Boseman says that Johnson hurt Habib, but if you go watch that fight again, so when Habib was supposedly rocked, Johnson did catch him, but a little bit of it, like he kind of clotheslined Habib a little bit. Just get him off balance, so not a brain swishing around in the skull, knocking against it, kind of like wobble, but like wobbled him by taking his balance away from him. And then like 30 seconds later, within 23 to 30 seconds, Johnson's on his ass and Habib's raining down ground and pound on him again. So like even if Johnson did hurt Habib a little bit, that is amazing recovery. That is super fast recovery. Just look at the timestamps. I've talked about it a lot. And also a little bit I wanted to find, spots for, again, I do like Habib. I'm a fan of him. I also like how he, in his Russian American accent, Russian English accent, you know what I'm saying, called out, give me your chicken in Conor McGregor. That was hilarious. So tough fight to call. Cyborg versus Holm. I'm going to go with Cyborg inside the distance. Bantamweights, Jimmy Rivera versus John Lineker. Rivera all day and twice on Saturday. Cynthia Calvillo versus Carla Esparza. I'm going to be all over Cynthia Calvillo. What are the odds? Give me those odds. I need them. Oh, yeah. Cynthia Calvillo going to submit Carla Esparza. That's going to be fun. Carlos Condit versus Neil Magny. I don't know. It's the fight of the Gicks, Mystified out by the woodpile. Lost Battalion. Dan the Hangman Hooker versus Mark Diakiese. Honestly, don't care. Sorry. Louis Smolka versus Matheus Nicolau. Don't care. Sorry. Miles Jury versus Rick Glenn. Don't care. Sorry. Marvin Vettori versus Omari Akhmedov. Don't care. Sorry. I mean, I care. I'm going to watch him. It might be exciting, but as for a pick and level of excitement, I just don't care. Matthew Caldwell hopes Cyborg loses for one reason. That would mean Holm beat Cyborg and Rousey and got 2 titles when she never looked impressive enough to get those shots. Isn't that nuts? Holm, her most impressive performances were Ronda and Betcha Correia, but other than that, she never wowed anybody. I thought Raquel Pennington beat her when they fought back in the day. And yeah, so Holly Holm's getting a title shot after going on a 3-fight losing streak and then knocking out Betcha Correia. The card kind of sucks, Jack. Jack Mooney says that the card is overhyped. If Habib fight falls through, it will be disastrous. And then what really, really fucking sucks for you guys and myself, one, this card looks incomplete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 fights on this card. We're possibly going to lose Habib if he can't fucking make weight. And no matter what, we still have to pay $60 to watch it. Some bullshit. This card sucks. Like, tonight's card was better. It was better on paper and probably in practice than UFC 219. UFC 219 sucks. Andrew Boothby says that he wants Cyborg and Holm to go for a few rounds. He thinks that Cyborg will win, but he hopes that Holly Holm will win. I'm in the same group, buddy. Sean Boseman, Cyborg wows 99% of the time. Jack Mooney says we will definitely lose one fight on fight week. It happens every time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you imagine a 9-fight card where the last 5 of those are behind a paywall? Just seems batshit crazy to me. This card is not worth $60. I'll tell you that right now. All right, guys. I think that's it for the show. If you're not already following me on my Facebook page, that was clunky. Give my Facebook page a like. It's at Flyin Brian Show. Follow MMA Mania on Instagram. It's MMAmania.com with the DOTCOM spelled out on Instagram. I'm in control of that. That's why I'm asking you to go there. And subscribe to MMA Mania on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And that's the show. Monis Allen says, I think he must have just came in late. He says Holm is going to win. It's just Holm, no ES. Monis. Just letting you know. Sean Boseman, Holm gets smashed in his opinion, yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Not next week. No, I won't see you next week. Have a Merry Christmas. Hug your loved ones. You never know if it's going to be the last time you see them. And be safe. I got love for you guys. Hashtag Fight Nerds. Namaste. I'm going to drink this beer. It's so fucking great. I forgot to even mention, it's only 10:30 my time. Normally it's like 1:30 in the morning when we get done talking about this. That right there, I'm going to bump my grade from a B+ to an A- because thank goodness for that. Later, guys. I appreciate you. Cheers.